Last time you saw me, I was flying one of these gorgeous Porter E2s over to Montreal, and now it's time for my next flight, headed home on the new Air Canada non-stop flight to Stockholm on the 787-8 in premium economy. I had never really heard glowing recommendations of Air Canada before, but I'm so thrilled that Air Canada launched these flights to my home airport, which is in desperate need of more long-haul service. And I was curious to try it out, of course, but I also wanted to vote with my wallet for them to keep this service around. As if my one ticket makes a difference. I don't know, maybe it does. Plus, this cuts out so many travel hours versus connecting somewhere to get home, and it makes it a very quick trip. Anyway, here I am in the Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge. Because of my Star Gold status, the ticket does not come with this lounge access. And it's really nice, especially compared to the crazy busy terminal. But they have a rule that you can only access it from 3 hours before your flight, and I just find that very chintzy. That kind of thing is common with the third-party lounges like Priority Pass lounges, but I've never seen an airline lounge with that kind of policy. Anyway, the food is tasty, the views are good, and they even have a tasty IPA. Here's the very fun terminal. Minimize your time here if you can. Hi friends, I'm at Montreal Airport and it's nuts. It's so packed. I guess it's just too small for the number of flights that are happening. But I'm glad because Air Canada is adding flights, and they've added flights to Stockholm from Toronto and Montreal, alternating days. And this is great news for me because I've been in Canada for the past 9 or 10 days and I need to get home from Montreal, and I can do it non-stop. It's interesting that you all like the premium economy videos. I think there's a demand to know what premium economy is really like and whether it's worth it, because it's attainable for more people and potentially represents good value, but also could represent just a waste of money, right? You might as well just fly economy if it's not very good. So I am intrigued to know what it's like, the Air Canada version. And it's a short flight, just about 6 hours, maybe a little more, to Stockholm. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this is and how Air Canada is. I've heard very mixed information about that, so let's get on board. I think my zone is coming up. I'm zone 2 today, not zone 1. What can you do? First impression of this little cabin is good. It's fairly standard, these seats are very common in premium economy, and they look good in Air Canada black and red. I'm all about the bulkhead when I can get it, pretty much in any class where you end up having to sit next to someone, and that's because you're much more likely to be able to get out to the aisle without disturbing your seatmate. And there's plenty of room here between the seat and the wall in front. Not all bulkheads are created equal, and this one is quite good. I actually made sure I could get this row 12 window before I booked, and that's a tip I always give, an underrated travel hack if you ask me. Always check the seat map if you care what kind of seat you get before you book. Don't pay for the ticket and then get surprised that there's only middle seats left, because the ticket will cost the same, but that would represent a much worse experience for the same price. Here you get a little amenity kit and a very basic pillow and blanket. These are very much giving economy class, because I presume they are from economy class. But you do get a big bottle of water. I'm not sure whether they get that in economy, but I'm guessing they don't. They've hidden the remote controls for the IFE a bit in front of the seats down by where the power outlets are. Squishy adjustable headrest and nice soft seat, check. Alright, this is definitely not bad at all. Nice space, nice cabin, everything looks good. It's in a good position with regard to the engine and wing. Happy with that, but the window is very dirty. Thank you. Dirty enough that it's making it difficult to focus on the outside, and oddly enough, it's the middle pane that's sort of covered in stuff, so there's no way to wash it either way, even if someone came to the outside and tried to address that. You'd have to take out this inner panel. The 787 takeoff is too quiet as usual, but for most people that'll be a benefit, so I'd say it's all still going very well for AC today. Mostly winds. And nice labs with maple leaves on the walls. I'm a fan of this. And then it's time for some snack mix, and there's a full bar. I order a gin and tonic, which I don't recommend for trying to sleep when you're on a 6-hour flight, but what can you do? Oh, and the aisle seat next to me ends up being empty on this flight, so I've got a very luxurious setup here. Note the sad state of the 787 window dimming controls, so common on any older Dreamliners now. Didn't Boeing anticipate this when they built them? If I was an airline, I'd be annoyed. The IFE screen and selection is all pretty good. You can also check out the drinks menu on here. And dinner is served. A reasonably tasty chicken and rice dish, even if it looks a bit meh. Here's what the amenity kit contains, and the pouch itself turns out to be a tote bag, which is kind of cool and useful. Look, these seats are never going to be like sleeping on a proper flat bed, but for such a short flight this worked okay. I passed out pretty easily despite some discomfort, and woke up as they came around with a very basic breakfast. I have to say this seemed like a very economy class offering, and actually a bit more basic than I'm used to on economy class transatlantic. Just a couple sugary things alongside a coffee. No tray even, not the end of the world, but not really premium in any way. This has to have been the same thing they got in economy, right? Anyway, it was a smooth flight, and what a nice way to get back to Stockholm overall. Living here, I've personally come to really despise that feeling of flying overnight to a European hub airport and then having to sit around, dead tired and jet-lagged and depressed, waiting for one more flight to get home in a fairly uncomfortable A320. So, landing dead tired and jet-lagged in my home airport for a change, that's just amazing. So, it was a pretty good flight. Mostly because I was so dead tired, I just passed out. Definitely not a comfortable seat to sleep in. It's basically true of all premium economies. In this case, in the bulkhead, there's no footrest or leg rest at all. So that kind of made it extra uncomfortable. The weight's just not on the right parts of your body to get real sleep. Plus, it's only a 6-hour flight. So it was hard to win that one. But pleasant cabin, reasonably pleasant flight attendants. The food for breakfast was a bit of a letdown, very basic, and only one cup of coffee served, no offer of a second or anything. It was very just kind of ticking the boxes. There was nothing above and beyond, nothing too memorable. Nice ride on the 787, short flight, great way to get home for me, non-stop from Montreal. I'm so happy to have been able to do that. it was worth everything for that, not having to connect in Copenhagen or London or something like that. Would I do that again? If I were coming from Montreal or Toronto and taking the direct flight, for sure. But I want to do business next time. Even on a 6-hour flight, it's worth it to be able to lie down. Even if you're only going to get 4 hours of sleep, it's just going to be a better 4 hours of sleep. And I have to say, economy looked pretty unpleasant, so I'll try to avoid that for sure. Anyway, back in Stockholm once again. Thanks for coming along. Let me know what you thought about Air Canada. Have you flown it? Do you have a different opinion to me? See you next time. Oh, and I threw on my Montreal Saint-Viateur bagel hat. That's my one souvenir from this Canada trip, aside from all the airline merch I got. I'm going to put all the videos I made in Canada down in the description eventually, so make sure to check all those out. It's a lot. See you next time.